Hello friends, Metapod here, and welcome to another episode of Weekly Harden. That was supposed to be like the title, I guess. Or it's like Harden, swing swing, they go swing, like that, and then your defense goes up. So this week I'm going to talk about minimalism, which I said I was going to talk about last week, and then I didn't. So now I'm going to talk about this week. Minimalism can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people, but there's kind of a general concept in there. So what I'm going to talk about is my personal experience and my personal view only. Disclaimer. So essentially, minimalism is a movement or lifestyle that focuses on minimalizing your need for material things and consumerism. When you hear about people who are minimalists, they're, getting rid of all their things and owning very little things, and that's pretty much the point. A lot of people get into it for like monetary reasons, like to save money, which feels a little ironic to me. It's like an anti-materialistic movement, and you're doing it for material gain. But I guess money is not material gain. Money is gain of nothing. But there are a lot of different reasons you can become a minimalist. Personally, I just wanted to decrease my own personal desire and need for material things for a lot of different reasons. And it's been a really, really great experience. From the time we are born, we are bombarded with rhetoric and essentially brainwashing that tells us we need material things more than anything else. Before we're even able to speak, we are able to be advertised to. Humans can understand language before they can reproduce it. And as babies, we are able to understand commercials and advertisements and people's conversations about commercials and advertisements before we can even talk. We're already being taught that we need things and we need to buy things. And that continues forever. We are constantly being advertised to. We are constantly having our emotions and our lives manipulated so that we will feel like we need various material things. And it's not just advertisement and consumer culture that does this to us. It is the adults in our lives as we grow up too. Your parents or the people who are in charge of your upbringing, the adults that you respect in your life, you undoubtedly will hear them be protective of their material things, talk about the importance of their material things, talk about and complain about and worry about the situation regarding their material things and their ability to gain new material things. You will see them focus on material things as a driving point in their life. And it's not just this culture of adults that are obsessing over material things, but it's the entire culture of success that we are involved in ourselves. We're not obsessed with buying things when we are children, but from a very young age, we know about school and education, and we know that we're going to be doing it, and we know that the purpose of doing it is so that we can use it toward making ourselves able to consume material things. Our entire culture revolves around consuming things. And so it's no surprise that we view the consumption of things as a measurement of success. It's not considered normal in our culture to look at a rich person and say, oh, that person was never able to find success in their life. And it's not considered normal in our culture to look at a homeless person, at a poor person, and say, wow, this person is the definition of success. Look at how greatly successful they've become. However, is it wrong to say these things? What exactly does it mean to be successful? At the end of your life, you will die, and you will not get a game over screen that tells you how many dollars you earned and what your potential buying power was and how many things you bought and how rich you became. And not only that, you could die in 5 minutes. You could die right now as you're watching this video. That is completely a possibility. And everything that's happened in the past, you can't redo it or undo it. So it's not really a concern. What really matters to determining if you are successful right now is how happy and comfortable you are right now. Are your body's needs being met? Are you able to feel a sense of comfort? Are you able to feel a sense of belonging and happiness? That is success. There's all this other potential in life, but your happiness is, in the end, the thing that matters. There are people who choose to be homeless, who choose to be poor. There are people who leave well-paying and secure jobs to be homeless. And these people will always tell you that it's the happiest they've ever been in their life. That they are enjoying life now more than they've ever enjoyed it before. And that their life feels so much more meaningful and valuable and successful. And I can bet you can find tons and tons of rich people who feel very dissatisfied with their life. A lot of times you will find people who are not satisfied with the current state of their life, and they think things like, if I just had a better job, if I just had this thing, if I just had some more money, then it would be good. I could finally be comfortable and happy. Even though it's pretty much scientifically proven at this point that you won't be happy when you get those things. But again, our culture will not let you believe that because it is so ingrained in your mind from the time you're a baby that you need things, need things, need things. But if you're looking at a situation like that, most of the time we only see one solution that says, okay, if I get the things, the problem will be solved. But that's not the only solution. What if instead of meeting that desire's requirements, you just lose the desire? If you no longer want the things, then you can't be sad that you don't have them. And that's essentially what minimalism is about to me. And it has worked really well for me. This entire world of stress, an entire world of worry and unhappiness that revolved around material things is now gone. And my quality of life has raised so much. I think it really started maybe, maybe 6 years ago when I heard the term freakin for the first time. Essentially, freakingism is an anti-capitalistic movement where people refuse to buy things because there's so much waste and for lots of other reasons. But I had never even considered that there's an alternative to getting money and buying things. Really, when you're trying to meet your needs, if there's something that you realize you need, buying it should be the very last thing you try to do. There are so many other things you can try to do before you buy it, and those are so much healthier. They're better for your mental and emotional health. They're better for the environment. They're better for your community. They're better for the world. They're better all around. But we just buy it. And like I said, our culture drives that into you because the people at the top thrive off of consumerism. And thrive off of you being manipulated into being a consumer. So if you're not doing that, those people can't feed off you anymore. And our culture would, but our current social structure would, and of course the people at the top don't want to. But anyway, I'm not getting into a rant about that. I just never thought that there could be an alternative to buying things. And even though I guess I realized, you can make things yourself and stuff like that, it just doesn't seem like a thing you do. And even though I heard about it 6 years ago and started to think of these things that long ago, it was very intimidating to me. And not because I was so afraid of giving up things or giving up wanting to buy things, but because I was afraid of what other people would think. And you may think that sounds crazy or that, you shouldn't care so much about what people think, but we all care a lot about what people think. We want the people around us that we love to love us back and to be happy with us. We don't want them to hate us or judge us or be mean to us. I don't care what strangers think, but I definitely care about what my mate thinks and what my friends think and what my family thinks. Like, I don't want them to hate me and be mean to me and look down on me. And you'd probably think, like, well, why would people think badly of you for wanting to better yourself and do something that makes you happy? And because it's different. And like I said, we are so brainwashed to be obsessed with material things that when you divert from this, people will be angry. And it sounds ridiculous when I say it that way, and when you really spell it out, it sounds so stupid, but it's true. And I was kind of afraid of that because I had kind of brought it up with my friends. Oh, have you ever heard of this like freaking thing? Have you ever heard of like anti-capitalists? And they're just like, oh, that sounds so stupid, that's crazy, and I didn't want to say like, oh, well, I thought it sounded, kind of reasonable. No, I don't want to say that. I don't want my friends to think I'm stupid and crazy too, so I was kind of afraid to really talk about it, but I still kind of kept casually researching it for a long time. And then even when I started doing it, people were mad. So this was a legitimate fear. My family told me I was so stupid. I heard, and when I say this, I mean talking about like when I decided I wanted to give up my Pokemon toys or something like that. And I wasn't selling them, I was giving them away. And they're like, that's so stupid. You're going to regret that. You're going to wish you had the money. You're going to wish you had them back. Like, how could you be so dumb? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, these are real things that I heard from them. And even with my friends who aren't going to be as, like, demeaning and judgmental as parents who I'm sure are just being concerned, they're still like, well, why aren't you selling it? Saying it in a, like, what's wrong with you kind of way. Like, there's no way to do this and people be like, wow, you're doing what you want to do and this makes you happy, good for you. No, they will let you know that you're doing it wrong. When I told my mate that I only had 2 pairs of cargo pants, he was literally angry and was so frustrated he was flustered and couldn't talk. And when I asked him if he was upset, he was couldn't think of a way to express it because he was that upset about it. Because he was upset that I didn't have more than 2 pairs of cargo pants. This sounds stupid and ridiculous, and it sounds like nobody would ever be this crazy and be upset about this kind of stuff. But in reality, our culture, and almost all of us in this culture, are really that obsessed with material things that when we see someone else giving away their things freely and not trying to get more material things, we want to attack them because it goes against everything we've been brainwashed to believe. But it's not like I was just like, hey, guess what? I gave away my stuff or something like that. I've never just volunteered this information aside from this video right now. People kind of come across it and then I'll eventually confess that I gave away my things and then they're still upset at me. So it's not like I'm trying to push it on other people. I think it's just so hard to explain that people really do get mad about this because it sounds ridiculous. But they do. It's not so extreme that they're just beating me up and yelling at me or something, but it's never a positive response. Never. Very, very rarely and from very particular people. But in general, it's always a negative response. But after years of kind of reading about this, and then I eventually came across a book called The Moneyless Manifesto. This book is what really pushed me to really start following this kind of thing. It's not really something that's viable for me right now, but one day I really would like to live completely moneylessly, meaning not using any money myself and not using anyone else's money. But for right now, that would mean leaving behind people that I don't want to leave behind. So that's definitely something for the future. But yeah, so I read this Moneyless Manifesto, and it really kind of opened my eyes more than all of this little bit of research had been doing for a while. And I really decided that, I think this is something that I can really relate to and something that feels very important to me. And I think that I would be really happy if I started to live my life by these kinds of ideals that I was thinking about. So I started kind of, getting rid of, I was selling things, I was giving things to Goodwill or whatever, which are not things I would do today. But I was just like kind of getting rid of things that I had that I didn't really need. And I was a collector. I collected so much crap, and I was also a hoarder, and I never got rid of things. So I had lots of stuff. I just kind of got rid of the excess stuff that I knew I really didn't need or want. And it felt good to have less stuff. It was like a kind of burden being lifted. It was just like, wow, this just feels nice. It feels cleaner. It feels more simple, that kind of feeling. And then I think a kind of an important turn for me was when I got rid of all of my Pokemon toys, because that was something I really didn't want to get rid of. I mean, I did, but it was something I was afraid to get rid of. And like just thinking about the idea of losing them was stressful. Like thinking about giving them away was a stressful thing. But when I finally did it, once I didn't have it anymore, I didn't care. I never regretted it. I never like felt bad that I didn't have it. I never like wished I had it back. But that stress I felt about not having it, I didn't have that anymore. Because of course I'm not going to feel stressed about losing something I don't even have. And I think that was the turning point for me. That I realized that's the burden that gets lifted when you lessen your reliance on this material things. Because I think all of us in this material world think about how terrible it would be to lose our things. What if we had a fire and then we just didn't have anything anymore? It was just gone. That would be so terrible. That is one of the scariest things for people to think about, is losing everything they own. But I was afraid of losing all this Pokemon stuff, and then I lost it. It was just gone and I couldn't get it back. And I didn't feel sad, but I didn't feel that fear anymore. And so, I could expand this concept to everything else. The more stuff I get rid of, the less fear I have to feel about losing things. I don't have to stress over whether or not I have something or not. If I don't really have anything, and I don't really care if I have anything, there's no stress. The stress of materialism and consumerism is gone. And minimalism is not getting rid of everything. It can get to that extent for some people, and there are people who completely get rid of all possessions and, like I said, live and are very happy that way. But that's not minimalism for everybody. And that's not what it is for me right now, because I'm an artist, I'm a YouTuber, I'm a game developer, so I need my computer, and I need my, Wacom tablet thing, and I need... That's about it. I pretty much just need my computer and accessories for it. And then I do have other stuff. I have my PlayStation 2 right here, my Japanese PlayStation 2, and some Japanese games. And then I have some art books here, inspirational books, and some reference books here. I have Anatomy for the Artist down there. And I used to have a ton of this stuff too, and I just kept kind of the things that I really felt were the most inspirational to me. I have a lot of inspirational stuff on my computer too. Pretty much everything right here within my reach is all the stuff I would feel like I really need or want to have right now. And I can reach my clothes, because they're all dirty right now, because I really need to go do laundry. And they're pretty much all right here in a pile. I don't really have that much clothes. I would say I probably have about a week's worth of clothes, changes of clothes, for maybe a summer weather. And then I have some sweatshirts and coats and stuff. Yeah, this kind of relieving yourself of the material things relieves you of the stress that comes with it. And I think that really opened my eyes and just made me really get into it. And I started getting rid of almost everything I had. And then I stopped selling it and giving it to places like Goodwill and stuff like that. And I started finding people, individuals or families or couples or whatever, that needed what I had, and I had it to give to them. because I wanted to contribute to my community and the people around me. If you want to do this too, there's a really cool website called FreeCycle that you can look on. It's usually a lot of people just asking for stuff, but sometimes you can find people who are asking for things you want. You can also give stuff away on Craigslist. There's like a place you can go and just say like, hey, I'm giving away this stuff for free. I don't remember what it's called. It's like free stuff. That might be what it's called, is free stuff. And of course you can ask around. Post on Facebook and Tumblr, whatever social media you use. Usually Facebook is the one that people use to connect to the people they actually know in person, and say, hey, does anybody need this? And then a lot of people are like, how much you want for it? And then you'll say like, oh, you can just have it. And then everyone's gonna be like, why don't you sell it? Seriously, people get mad. Like, okay, I don't want to dwell on that too much, but it still baffles me, and I still think it's like crazy, and I still think you would not expect it, but it happens. Anyway, it's not just about this whole burden being lifted, but when you start giving stuff away, like, it is a great, great feeling. Like, I mean, I have grown up with video games. I pretty much was born playing video games. Like, there is not a moment in my life I remember before playing games. Video game culture and video game stuff has been a big part of my life. When I finally decided to get rid of that, I think that was the point of no return for me, because that was like the most important material thing to me ever, was my video game collection. I found this family online who they somehow got a Wii from someone else, but they couldn't afford any games for it, and their kids were so excited to get the Wii, but then they couldn't play it because they don't have any games, and they just felt so bad because they really wanted their kids to be happy, and they were so excited about this Wii, and now they're so disappointed, and they just can't afford any games for the Wii. And they were just like, does anyone have any free Wii games we can have? And so I walked to their house. This is a bizarre story. I can't even imagine I did this now. I walked 7 hours in the rain in the middle of the night to give these people some Wii games. And I took a backpack, and my brother came with me, and we were dying by the end. Like, we were dying. But anyway, so I got to these people's house, and I gave them, like, I opened this bag, and, like, I gave them my Super Mario Galaxy games, and, like, my Harvest Moon games. They were kind of younger kids, so I just gave them the games that I thought were more, like, family-friendly and stuff, and those kids were so happy, and their mom, like, looked so relieved, and, like, I still enjoy that feeling and remembering that and knowing how much those kids are probably still enjoying playing Mario Galaxy. And I played Mario Galaxy and Mario Galaxy 2, and those were beautiful experiences. And like knowing that these kids are growing up playing Super Mario Galaxy, and knowing that they got it through generosity of someone else, and not from, like, someone else making them buy it or something like that. That somebody could just give them this, like, really cool thing that's, like, I mean, video games shaped me as a kid, as, maybe stupid as that sounds, but, when you're a kid and you only have a few games, you play those games over and over, and they become so important to you, And, like, so I like to think that probably those kids are doing that too. Especially since their parents can't afford a lot of entertainment and toys and stuff for them, so they're probably going to be playing Mario Galaxy over and over, and maybe Harvest Moon and stuff too, And then I have a friend who's a really big game collector, and, like, I gave him like a lot of my old games. I had a bunch of, like, NES games, like, complete in the box, and, like, all these, like, rare games and, cool stuff, and he was really excited. And I remember I was just giving him some stuff and some random collectibles, just anything I find in my house. It's like, oh, take this, take this, take this. And then I remember, like, I suddenly remembered, oh, I have the perfect thing to give him. And I, like, ran over, I was like, oh, I gotta give you this. And it's the first issue of Nintendo Power magazine. I thought he was gonna cry. Maybe he did a little bit, but it's such a cool feeling. Like, it feels so good, and it still feels good. Like, I don't. Having that magazine for the rest of my life, and no matter how much I showed it to someone or how much I could sell it for one day, would never be able to replace that feeling and being able to keep that memory. That memory and that feeling is so much more valuable and so much cooler to have than that magazine. And that's a cool magazine. Like, I don't know. These feelings are unrivaled. There's nothing better than the feeling of unconditionally giving. You know, like when you just give something to someone and you don't ask for anything in return. You don't even care if they say thank you. You just give to them because you want to give. You want someone else to be happy. When you do that and you're not giving for any kind of personal gain, not even for a thank you, not for money, not for an owe you a favor in the future, not even for feeling better about yourself, just giving for their sake, giving for someone else's sake, whether you know them or not, just giving is the most amazing feeling in the entire world. And it's like, it's unrivaled. Like, I can't compare it to anything else that feels this good and this liberating. It's a really, really cool thing. And you get really addicted to it. Then I just wanted to give away everything. And then I wanted to go out and then I had a desire to get money. I wanted to go get money so that I could buy things to give away to people. Like that. Like, it's really cool. And so I think this is one of the biggest lessons that minimalism has taught me. And I think those are the kind of main points I wanted to cover when I talked about minimalism. But there's a lot more stuff I could talk about. Like the fact that the concept of property and personal property has become so bizarre to me, especially the concept of owning land. But the way that I view the world, what I value, and my definition of success has changed a lot. My personal happiness has gone up a lot. My satisfaction with life has gone up a lot. The amount of stress I feel has gone down a lot. I think I do a lot more of living for the moment. I do a lot less of worrying about the future because I think that all of my worrying about the future before boiled down to worrying about my ability to obtain material things in the future. And it just doesn't concern me so much. And I think part of that too is not just because of minimalism, but because of how much I've read about freakingism and moneyless living and stuff like that, that I feel somewhat confident, even if I lost everything and just was somehow naked on the street and with nowhere to go, that I would be able to get by. It's pretty cool. I encourage everyone to at least consider thinking about minimalism, not necessarily doing it if it's not right for you, but just thinking about your needs and desires and think about them more critically, question them. Because I think we never really question it, because I never did. And I think it's important to question everything in life. You should always be questioning and re-questioning and re-evaluating all the time. Question your stance on consumerism, materialism. Question why you have what you have, your needs. Question your desires. See what you come up with. Then just think. That's what we should do. Let's think. So I hope this wasn't too weird and confusing and rambly. I mean, I know it was, but I hope it wasn't too bad. And I'll see you next week on Weekly Harden, but I'll probably see you every day before that because I post a video every day, and probably most of you are not here for Weekly Harden, so I'll see you in the gaming videos too. Oh yeah, and let me know what you want me to talk about. Let me know what you thought of this. I really want to know. Feedback is awesome. And I just want to talk to you guys. This is just a reminder, if you want to like the video, like it. If you want to subscribe, subscribe. Don't do it if you don't want to. Dislike it if you want. Be free. I don't want to pressure you to do it, but I just personally forget to do it on other people's videos and channels, so it does help me out a lot. Maybe I should make a video about how to help out your YouTuber friends, because I think if people don't realize how important the likes and comments and subscriptions and stuff are, and exactly what those things do to help and stuff. So maybe that'll be next week if nobody gives me a topic. Metapod out. I should do it different. Metapod out. I should do devils for that. Metapod out. Sweet. My defense goes up again.